Hello, welcome to Integers Part 2, Multiplying and Dividing Integers. Here we're going to look at the process behind multiplying and dividing positive and negative numbers. In the first example, I've got two negative numbers. So I'm going to multiply them together here in a second, and we'll figure out what our answer is. Simplification answer. Alright, so the rule is, if I have an even number of negative integers, so we have an even number of negative integers, I'm going to have a positive answer. So here I have two negative integers, so 2 is even. So I have 7 times 3 is 21. That's positive. The same works for division. 36 divided by 9 is 4. And I have 1, 2 negatives. 2 negatives is even. It is positive 4. Similarly, if I have 1 or more, so 1, 3, 5, or 7, those are odd. So if I have an odd number of negatives, negative integers, I'm going to have a negative answer. So since I have one negative number here, I've got negative 12 times 3, which is 36, but since there's one negative, my answer is just negative. Similarly, if I have 24 divided by negative 8, I'm going to do 24 divided by 8, which is 3. But my answer is negative because I have one negative. So it's important to count the number of negative integers to make sure we understand whether they're even or odd. Let's look at a couple of examples. Alright, letter A says to simplify. Let's look at letter B real quick. Letter B has negative 6 times negative 7. And here I have an even number of negatives. 1, 2 negatives, it's even. 7 times 6 is 42. And it'll be positive 42. Let's look at letter D. I've got negative 60 divided by 5. Well, I know 60 divided by 5 is 12, but how do I know what the sign is? There's one negative and one is odd, so my answer is going to be negative. Letters E, F, C, and D, which should be E, F, G, and H. Let's change those to G and H. Silly Mr. McAllister. Alright, I've got multiple operations going on, multiplication operations in all of these. And so what we have to do is look at our signs and see how they change. So let's first look at letter E. I've got negative 6 times 4. Well, that's negative 24. And I've got 2 times negative 3. Well, that's negative 6. Negative 24 times negative 6. Well, now I can just do negative 24 times negative 6 and multiply that. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 2 is 14. Now I've got to count my negative numbers. 1, 2 negatives, so it's positive 144. Most excellent. Let's look at a different one. Let's look at letter F. In letter F, I've got similar problem, but I've got an extra number at the end. So let's look at 2 times negative 3. It's going to give me negative 6. 4 times negative 5 gives me negative 20. And then times negative 1. Let's make a prediction. How many negatives I have here? So I've got 3 negatives, so let's predict whether it'll be odd or even answer. I think it's going to be odd because excuse me, I think it's going to be a negative answer because it's got an odd number of integers. So negative 6 times negative 20 is positive 120 times negative 1. Well, since I've only got one negative left, I'm going to have negative 120. Now, am I some kind of psychic that knows the future? No, I just counted my number of negatives, and I had an odd number here. Let's look at this one more time, and let's look at letter H. I've got 4 negative numbers, so let's predict based on the number of negative numbers what answer I'm going to have. So write down your predictions off to the side, whether it's going to be positive or negative, and then let's go see what we get. Negative 2 or negative 3 times negative 2 indicates that's going to be 6. Negative 3 times negative 2, also positive 6. 6 times 6 is 36. How many of you were right with your prediction of positive or negative? Hopefully we were all right and said positive. If not, it's a great mistake to learn from. What I need for you guys to do on your own is go through letter A, letter C, and letter G. Alright, good luck.